Well, welcome to the Sunday's Church. And I am your pastor, Pastor KRS. And church is now in session. So, my brothers and sisters, welcome to the Sunday Mass. And we are going to be discussing your karma on this lawful day of Christ. So, as the title says, fourth house of karma, karam, okay, work. That's what we want to discuss. So, what is it? Uh-oh. No, okay. I thought my door was opening up. So as you know, fourth house in astrology is the house of happiness, okay? Happiness, comforts, emotions, rest, mother, nourishment, vehicles, land, real estate. These are the primordial, things that are in the fourth house. Then fourth house also represents your storage of anything. Okay, so in this particular room in my office that I'm in, okay, this cabinet is the fourth house in this particular house. Why? Because it's storing all the books. All my astrological books are stored here. So this becomes the fourth house of storage for this particular room. That's what it is. So if I need something, if there's something, I take it out, or it may automatically come to me. So that's one concept you always have to understand. That means fourth house is really the storage of everything that you might have done in your life. Okay, so from the ascendant, which is known as the lagna, the rising sign, the fourth house from the ascendant represents that storage of your happiness, your karma. And just by looking at someone's fourth house, we see how much happiness was surrounding them in their circumstances when they were born. Okay, so when you were born and they brought you in the home, or let's say you were born in the home, how was that environment? Was there chaos in that environment? Was there a lot of arguments, fights in that environment? Was there a lot of happiness, nourishment in that environment? That is a fourth house. But what happens is that particular environment in your fourth house shapes you for life. It shapes you about your outlook on happiness. What is happiness for you? So even though when you were born and we took a snapshot of the sky and made it the lagna, the birth chart, it shows this environment that you were born in, the storage, everything that was stored within your home when you were born is that fourth house. And because of whatever was stored in your environment and you were growing up, it'll set your expectations in life in terms of what happiness you will get, how much of a happiness you will get. What is it that you want? What is it that you always wants to store? That is the fourth house. Then you look at, to really truly see the value of that fourth house, look at the fourth house from your Arudha Lagna. It is known as an alternative ascendant. It is also known as Padha Lagna. Also look at the fourth house of your Karakamsha Lagna. KL. Karakamsha Lagna, okay? And if you are new to this and you don't know what the hell am I talking about, I have already made videos on Arudha Lagna with Mark Boney and Karakamsha Lagna with Mark Boney, who's my Jaimini Guru. And he shows beautifully what the Karakamsha is and Arudha is. So, especially from Karakamsha Lagna, we can see how much happiness you can get from the storage that you have, including the Arudha Lagna. Like, what is it that you enjoy? Okay. And also, what fourth house represents, and I'm going to get to as to why I'm talking about this, you know, fourth house. And remember, this is not my house series. This is not nothing to do with, you know, the series that I'm doing, first house, second house, third house. This is just to talk about, to transition this subject into something else, because it has been just giving me amazing analysis and results. So I'm just putting it out there so you guys can comment later on and let me know. So if fourth house from the ascendant is that happiness, and in astrology, what does Saturn represent? In astrology, Saturn is really the significance of our karmas. It represents the actions that we have accumulated, all the things that we have done in our past lives. What is the karma that we are here to now deal with in this life? That is Saturn. Okay? Saturn is the original 10th lord of karma and work. And Saturn is the judge, the jury, and the lawyer. He's like Judge Dredd. He gives you what you deserve right there and then. So if you take Saturn wherever it is in your particular birth chart, fourth from Saturn is the stored karma of your accumulated lives. You see, fourth from Saturn, it's what Saturn is to give you, and is what Saturn will force you to do. I don't know if hopefully you guys got this. So for example, let's say your Saturn is in the 11th house. Okay? It's in the 11th house. Forget the sign right now. Fourth from the 11th house is the second house. Look at the second house. Who's sitting there? Where the Lord is? Who's the Lord sitting with? That's the karma you are to perform in this life. A duty you must do regardless of what job you have, what business you have, or what you want to do, what your hobbies are. That's like, you know, that's a separate issue. And that can become the same issue as this, because fourth from Saturn is what Saturn is going to unveil in your life. And it just hit me last week, actually. I knew about this in the back of my mind, but it just hit me. And then when I was doing my readings, I was asking like these 2-3 questions to people. Like, can you just answer this? I'm just testing something. And literally, majority of the people, I guess I have to go back and see, but pretty much all of them kind of like said yes. This is actually something I am trying to do. I am doing, and I have done. And so I'm like, today, you know, let's make this video so I can throw this analysis out, and so you guys check the fourth from Saturn, what house it is, and what does that house signifies, where the Lord is, where's the Lord sitting, who's it conjunct, what nakshatra it's in. It'll show how you are going to be dealing with your karmas, the action that Saturn is going to make you perform in this life. Because we're specifically talking karma. our actions. Okay? Now, we can go even deeper. Okay? Take Jupiter, for instance. Jupiter is knowledge, intelligence. It's our ability to learn and know about the higher and divine. Jupiter helps you like connect to something bigger than you, something higher than your ego. See, ego shows us that, okay, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in astrology, this is all bullshit. I believe in science and I believe in, all the scientific things. I believe in practicality that I see. And that kind of comes into not knowing, the source. But Jupiter is like, okay, so you know what science is, what the medical field is. But can science and medical fields show us what gives us life? When a baby is functioning, what gives it a life? Why can't we revive a dead person back to life 2-3 hours later? It's science. So to understand these type of questions, you have to use Jupiter. Like Jupiter is like that divine dictionary. It takes you up. Okay? Now, Jupiter represents knowledge. What you are really here to, learn. Jupiter is our intelligence and how we're going to use that intelligence. So, where is whatever Jupiter is to do in your life? Where would it come out from? Forth from Jupiter. That's the stored intelligence of Jupiter. Whatever prosperity, because Jupiter is prosperity, wealth, children, right, gains, philosophy, religion, gurus, counselors. Everybody who is to be with you in this life is stored in forth from Jupiter. And when you look forth from Jupiter, you will see what is it that your intelligence is going to be attracted towards, how your intelligence will manifest. What are you going to believe when it comes to higher and divine? What are your thoughts? What are your viewpoints of how higher and divine works? That becomes the forth from Jupiter. And you can go with this with any planet. What type of a love you will get? What type of the things that your spouse will help you, or what kind of a things will spouse bring you in your life? What is it that luxury or that that love and lust, romance? What is it that you're gonna get out of it? Well, that is stored forth from Venus. Okay, so that is stored forth from Venus. Look at the house forth from Venus. That is what the spouse will be bringing in your life through marriage. So look where the Lord is sitting, which planet aspects that house, who's sitting in that house. So you can go through this, but especially the karma part is what I really wanted to focus on, which is Saturn. The work that we do, like you go to jobs, you do things that you may not like doing. And Saturn is the type of jobs and work, Saturn doesn't care if you're happy or not. Saturn absolutely doesn't care. It's like he's blind. He's like, this is it. This is what I'm giving you. This is what I'm supposed to give you. I'm just the postal driver. I'm just a mail delivery guy. I have delivered you the mail. Here it is. These are your letters that you're getting. But what is it that letter's gonna give you? Before you even open it, how can you see what's in that letter? Look at the forth from Saturn. That's the work you are going to be forced to ultimately do. And the reason why now I'm saying this is because I was just practicing on people that were coming to me. Besides what I was doing, I'm like, let me just add this and ask them. So now I want to know on a mass level. I want to know, like, once this recording is done and processed, because whatever comments you guys are showing right now, it will not show up on the video or when it's processed. When it's processed, look for the fourth from Saturn and see if you have been forced to do something related to that. So that's quite important, actually, to see that. Then I was going to talk about the body parts of planets. And that actually just came up again through, talking to my astrologer friends, email exchanges, thoughts exchanges. So let's say, for example, you have Venus in the 7th house, okay? Your Venus is sitting in the 7th house. We don't care for the sign right now. Venus is what? Venus represents your spouse, regardless of if it's a man or a woman. It's your spouse. And for a man, it represents the wife. It even represents women in your life, even a girlfriend in your life. Okay? Girlfriend, you gotta understand, boyfriend, girlfriend starts out through Mercury and then turn into Venus. Because how do you get into a relationship? You become friends. You become good friends. Right? So what is friendship? It's Mercury. It starts out with Mercury. Mercurian energy is always there. Without Mercury, you cannot have a relationship. You can even spark a relationship. Sure, you can have one night stands. That's fine. Then that's straight up Venus, But Mercury says, okay, I want to interact with you. I want to know you. I want to see if we have similar, discriminations in our life, what we like, what we don't like. So on basis of that, it becomes that spark. So Venus represents the spouse. It's in the 7th house. Let's say you are not feeling too lucky in your life. You feel like somehow, some way, my luck is just not favoring me. I just don't have the right luck. So Venus being in the 7th house has the 9th house third from itself. Okay? Third from itself becomes Venus's body parts, which is hands and shoulders, or even like upper lungs. What you need to see, is your wife asking you for some jewelry? Does your wife, feel like she's working too much with her hands? Well, in that case, what if you were to massage your wife's hands? Maybe buy her some, nice expensive bangles. Maybe get her a ring that you may have not gotten for a long time. So if the spouse, Lakshmi, wife, or her husband feels good about their hands, they can actually increase the power of the 9th house. And this is why, this is something, especially in your intimate relationships, especially the people who are living in your house. That's the main thing you need to worry about. Because remember, Jupiter represents Guru, right? And let's say if you don't have children, Guru. And let's say Guru is in the 10th house. Meaning Jupiter is in the 10th house. Luck is not favoring you. You don't feel religious. You don't feel connection to the higher and divine. Then perhaps what you want to do is, if you have a guru, you massage their feet. You make their feet feel very good and relaxed. When the feet feel happy, what will happen? Jupiter's body part is feet, right? So 12th from Jupiter is the feet of Jupiter. And because it represents your ninth house, it can actually improve the condition of that house. But then you can go around in circles with friends and everybody, right? So the only thing you need to stick to is the people living in your house. Because you're really, when you live in the same dwelling in the fourth house, remember, fourth house is storage of karma. When you live under the same roof, all the fourth house storage of all the people is now mixing in with each other. And when it mixes in, that's when you see other changes in your life happens. Why a husband gets promotion after, after marriage. Why is it that, a spouse suddenly drives in the most luxurious car? You didn't have money, okay? She didn't have money, but now somehow, someway she's driving in the luxury car. Why? Because your particular planetary alignments, your storage of karma is now interacting with her or his karma and is mixing it up and giving that result. So this is why we only concentrate on people within the family. Majority of the time, especially in the West, you will have your spouse and children mainly. Okay? If you have an animal or a pet, that is something. So if you have a cat, Rahu becomes important. If you have a dog, Ketu becomes important. Let's say you have a servant coming in your house, Saturn becomes important. But mainly, people who live with you 24/7, they are the main people. So if, let's say, you have children, then Jupiter becomes important. Then what you want to do, so let's say if Jupiter is in your fourth house, okay, and you're not able to save money. Well, Jupiter represents children. Second house is wealth. Jupiter is in the fourth house. That means 11th from Jupiter are the, what do you call these, ankles of Jupiter, like the region below the knee. The region below the knee is of the children. So if your children, run and fall and they have bruises on their feet, make sure you massage your children's feet, or you buy them maybe new jeans or shoes or something where that thing feels good. And this is why it's important to take care of the people within your family, because Venus could be somewhere else. Okay, let's say Venus is in the ninth house, right? Venus is in the ninth house. That means the luck of the ninth house rests on your spouse's head brain. And the wealth in your family is affected by the health of the spouse. Why? Because second house is sixth from Venus now. Venus, sixth from the ninth house. So if, let's say, you fight with your spouse health is not feeling well, then that activates and affects the results of the second house. So if you have Jupiter in the fourth house, you have Venus in the ninth house, if you take care of your children's feet, ankles, your spouse's health, and not fight with her or him so much, that second house then balances out. Because whenever you do something within the house, somehow, some way, some house is like shaking. So it's important. Now, obviously, you will see many people fight within the house. Many people, fight each other, but yet, hey, they're still doing well luck-wise and all of these things. And this is why I said it's the mix of storage of these karmas, storage of everything. But what happens is, sure, money is coming in, everything is happening, but little things happen. Where somehow, somewhere, let's say you're making $1 million a year. But suddenly some health issue happens where now you have to give out $100,000 for some surgery. Why? Because you probably didn't take care of that particular body part of the spouse or children before. and you let it get to the point where it just now has to be taken out. So these minor things I'm talking about. So once you look at astrology this way, that's when you start seeing the activation of things in your life. So if, let's say, father is this, sun is the father, and sun is in the ascendant, and so if you yourself don't feel confident in your life, and your father's living with you in the same house, massage his head. If he has a headache, make sure that headache goes away. Because when that headache goes away, it stops affecting your ascendant, which is your ego, your confidence, your vitality. So this is why this is like astrology chart. It's like a multi-dimensional chart within this one single plate of the chart. And there's so many more things I can even say besides body parts and karmic thing, but I'll leave that for other videos. But our main thing I want to just see is your fourth from your Saturn, how it is. So anybody right now in the live section, have you guys tried it in your head, the fourth from Saturn? How do we understand Gemini Karka? Venus in the 9th, Taurus 12th. Fourth from Saturn is the second house. I mean, just look, what is it that you do for a living, or what were you forced to do some work, something related to fourth from Saturn? Yeah, I know. I don't want to know where your Saturn is because I'm going to have to see like 4 or 5 different things where the Lord is placed, who's it conjunct. I want you guys to work it out in your head and just give me the answer. It's like, do you think you might be doing something or forced to do something related to that fourth from Saturn? Now, okay, there's a great question I just saw. So like I was saying, third from Venus is the hands of the spouse, right? But what about the seventh? So let's say your Venus is in the 11th house. Your first house becomes the hands of your spouse. Okay, we get it. But 7th house represents your spouse, right? So what if you make the 7th house the ascendant? Shouldn't the 9th house become the 3rd house of your spouse? Yes. But why are they being differentiated? Very smart question. Why are they being differentiated? One is going to affect your circumstances. That's where 3rd from Venus, 4th from Venus, 5th from Venus, 6th from Venus comes alive. But your spouse's actual own life and her own body and her own thing, which are not going to be affecting you necessarily, will be seen from 7th house. So if you make 7th house the ascendant, that's your spouse's life. How they're interacting with their siblings, their father, their mother, what do they do, what do they feel, how their body type is. Okay, but when you're looking at these specific planets and seeing 10th from that sun, 9th from that sun, that shows how those things may affect you in your life. This is why that becomes important. So 6th house is pets and animals, right? You make that the ascendant and you see, how your pet is affecting you. Now, this also becomes complicated if you have 3 or 4 pets. You want to see which is the first pet you got, a dog or a cat. That becomes the 6th house. Okay? Then the next pet. So if you get a next pet, that will then become the sibling of that pet. That means it'll be 3rd from that 6th house. So 8th house then becomes the second pet. Because these are your children. You got to understand, pets are your children. So you get your first child, you got a cat. Second child was a dog. Third child was another dog. So 6th house and 3rd from the 6th. So these are, you can look. But the planet itself, the body of the planet, will show how the third from, let's say fourth from sun represents the chest of your father. But how that chest may affect you, how that heart chakra of father affects you. But if you want to know about your father's body and health, make ninth house the ascendant. That tells your father's own thing, separate from you. That's how you use these two things. So very good question on that. You want a monkey, man, that might be 11th house. Okay, that's another good question. Regular pets, small pets are 6th house. If you want to get a wild animal or exotic animal, that's the 11th house. Why? It's the bhavam of the 6th house. 6th from the 6th. So 6th house represents dogs, cats, birds, or maybe like a guinea pig or something. But if you want to get like a monkey, chimpanzee, tiger, alligator, snake, then they become 6th from the 6th, the higher self of the 6th, which is that wild exotic animals. Yes, if your pet is dead, that is your first child. That is your first child in the pet scheme. So definitely you always have to remember who was the first pet, who was the second, who was the third, who was the fourth. Because otherwise then, it's not like if you have a first child and your second child comes in and your first child, something happens, they don't become your first child. They're always going to be that second child. Same thing with pets. If you have 10 pets, you have to go back and see which one is the 10th pet or the first pet. Then you go third. Remember, when we get pets, we're not like, oh, hey, Yash, Brad is now your boyfriend. We don't say that. Hey, Brad, Yash is going to be your pimp. No, we introduce them each other like, hey, this is your sister, this is your brother. So third from the 6th house becomes their sibling. Doesn't matter if they're old or young. They're just sibling. The new pet will be the younger than the other one. All right. So I think church is now, the session, the Sunday Mass is about to come to an end. And please make sure that once the video processes and you can comment, write in there how fourth from Saturn, what sign is there, and where the second, where that planet is placed, what planet aspecting, and see if you have done anything related to that, or if that's how your karmas have unraveled always. I don't need to know the positions in the comment. Just let me know, yes, it happened or not happened, so we can get a better perspective on this. Okay? Bye-bye.